the past couple of months, controversies have been erupting as the culture war begins to infect the Tokyo 2020 Olympics. Yes, they're still calling it the 2020 Olympics, even though it's now 2021 because it was postponed over COVID. The latest story has to do with activist athlete Gwen Berry, who after winning third place in the hammer throw, turned away from the American flag during the national anthem. She went on to say that she was set up. They knew that she was going to be out there and they were going to play the anthem so that she would turn away from it. It's kind of a ridiculous story. We get it. She's an activist. She's probably a Black Lives Matter activist, and she didn't want to put her hand on her chest and look at the flag during the anthem. I got to say, I find it confusing why you would want to represent the United States in the Olympics if you don't like the country, its history, its traditions, or at the very least the flag. Berry said the anthem never represented her. Then why would you want to represent the U.S.? Now, this isn't the only controversy. Another story has to do with an alternate competing in the BMX Olympic sporting event who apparently posted her intention was to burn the U.S. flag from the podium. Well, this individual is an alternate, likely will not be on the podium. But once again, sparking a lot of controversy. We then see the media rush to the defense of this individual saying, well, we can't even prove this person actually said it, despite there being a screenshot and no real clear denial. But okay, fine. Maybe she never said it and she has no intention of actually denying having posted, I want to burn the flag. But it's very confusing, isn't it? Who are these people who want to disparage and disrespect the flag, but go and wear it on their uniforms and have it next to their name as they go to other countries to represent this country? Certainly you can compete without a country, stateless or whatever it is. I don't know a lot about the Olympics, but they're athletes who don't have a country and they still qualify because they're really, really good. What is this all about? Well, a few months ago, the Olympics banned Black Lives Matter activism. They can't sell apparel. There's no fist pumping or red salutes to be done on the podium. A lot of people have said that's ridiculous because the Olympics has a long history of activism. But maybe what we're really seeing is just flat out virtue signaling. Let me ask you about these people who have qualified for the Olympics. How do you think their families feel about them getting to wear the American flag in Tokyo? Yeah, I bet they're very, very proud. They said, my child, my brother, my sister, my significant other, they are going to be the best of the best here for America. But when it comes to the TV and it comes to news, they pretend like they hate this country. Okay, well, in that case, maybe I should just say I agree with Rep. Dan Crenshaw, who came out and said Gwen Berry should be removed from the Olympic team for turning away from the flag. And not just her, but this other athlete as well. Why not? We want people to say we are proud to be Americans, we represent America, and we are going to be great athletes. If they don't want to do this, why are they even there? Now, this isn't the only controversy erupting. There are activists in Tokyo trying to get the games shut down over COVID. Now, a lot of people thought COVID was over. You think again. They're saying it's still bad in Tokyo. It's going to get worse. And now we're hearing about the Delta variant. And what's the latest bit of advice from the World Health Organization? That even if you're fully vaccinated, you should be wearing a mask and social distancing because the Delta variant could be serious. So perhaps we will revert back into lockdowns. That's already happening in Australia. So maybe the games will be postponed, who knows? But let's get started and take a look how the culture war is transcending just the United States and is going to make its way into the Olympics and basically already has. Before we get started, head over to timcast.com to become a member and help support our fearless journalism. You also get access to our exclusive members only section with segments from the Timcast IRL podcast you can't get anywhere else. We talk about the things that YouTube doesn't really want us to talk about. And we have this amazing new newsroom, which has just launched, and the new website is coming soon. So don't forget, go to timcast.com, become a member, but like this video, subscribe to this channel. And if you really like the work we're doing, please share this video and explain to people what's going on, why you like the video, because that's the power of word of mouth, which is more important and more powerful than any bit of marketing or algorithmic manipulation. It really does help the channel grow. Here's the story from CNN. Gwen Berry turns away from flag on U.S. Olympic trials podium, says she was set up. Now, what I find fascinating about this is I don't really care about one hammer thrower, but there is something to be said about the activism seeping into everyday life. and also the narcissism of this generation. CNN reports hammer thrower Gwen Berry says that playing the national anthem while she was on the podium at the U.S. Olympic track and field trials was a setup. Berry turned away from the flag to face the stands while the Star-Spangled Banner played during the medal ceremony on Saturday. She then draped a T-shirt bearing the words "activist athlete" over her head. Having placed third in the hammer event at the trials in Eugene, Oregon, Berry earned a spot on the U.S. team for the Tokyo Olympics, which get underway next month. Quote, "I feel like it was a setup. I feel like they did that on purpose, and I was peed, to be honest," said Berry of the anthem while being played while she was on the podium. "I was thinking about what should I do. Eventually, I just stayed there and just swayed. I put my shirt over my head. It was real disrespectful. I know they did that on purpose, but it'll be all right. I see what's up." Talk about narcissism and egotism. Man, get this person off the Olympic team. I'm sorry. They should not be there. It's simple. You compete in an event for America. We play the national anthem. Why would this person be surprised they did that? Or claim she was being set up? I'll tell you, it's actually really simple. Here's what happened. These activists have to virtue signal. They have to pretend they hate this country. They don't know. They don't care. And I'm willing to bet when she won, she walked away. She's like, "I did it. I finally did it. I'm going to get to wear the flag and I'm going to be there." Oh, man. But if I come out and claim I support this, all of these crazy activists are going to get mad at me for standing up for the national anthem. So they virtue signal. Now, this is dangerous because this will influence children. They'll grow up and they'll say, "I don't like this country." Now, we can't have that, man. This country has its problems. It's had even worse problems. We do well. We progress. We get rid of the bad. We keep the good, or at least we try to. Sometimes we get new bad. This is an example of new bad. We can't have this. We need pride in our country. We need, look at it this way. Without sporting events, people are using politics as their tribe, as their team, and they're fighting each other. Maybe we should go back to people being more passionate about, like, the Bears versus the Raiders or something. By all means, keep paying attention to politics, but keep your passion into sports, more fun things, right? Now, it is a bit of a conundrum because I do think people should be active in politics. I just don't think they should be violently enraged by politics. And I don't think they should be about their sporting events either. But you also think about what the Olympics could stand to be in terms of international competition. Instead of hating each other, we come together. All the nations of the world, maybe not every single one, but many come together. And at this one moment, we're all engaged in games, like games. Hey, I want to see how well you can do. I'm going to beat you next time. That's the kind of stuff we want as opposed to international conflict. Maybe it's a bit naive to think that coming together could change anything, but I really do think that maybe not the most impactful thing. When we come and we meet, we shake hands and we watch people engage in the top tier sports of the world, we're at least coming together and sharing that moment. And that can help ease tensions around the world. This makes things worse. That's all this culture war stuff does. You can like the flag, you can like America and talk about bad things, man. USA Track and Field did not respond to CNN's request for comment, but according to Reuters, it said the anthem was played each day at the trials according to a prearranged schedule. It sounds like this Gwen Berry is lying. Quote, "We didn't wait until the athletes were on the podium for the hammer throw awards," said USATF spokeswoman Susan Hazard. "We're thrilled with the women's hammer throw team that selected themselves for the games. The anthem has been played once each evening throughout the trials. They said they were going to play it before we walked out. Then they played it when we were out there," said Berry. "But I don't really want to talk about the anthem because it's not important. The anthem doesn't speak for me. It never has." On Instagram, Berry edited a caption alongside photos of her on the podium saying, "I said what I said. I meant what I said. Stop playing with me, period." Ooh, the cognitive dissonance as her brain boils within her skull. Does she come out and say, "I'm so proud to be here representing America in the hammer throw, the best of the best of the best"? Well, the best of the best of the best, but third in the best of the best of the best. You get the point. Is she going to come out and with a tear in her eye say, "I'm so incredibly honored to be here"? But what about her activist virtue signaling? Yeah, there's the conundrum. This is hypocrisy. Just say you're proud. You did it. You're better than the rest. You earned it. It's yours. And you get to wear that flag and show the world that you are the best, that hard work paid off. But the virtue signal, oh no, if you come out and say meritocracy and hard work, oof, it's not going to work. On Twitter, Berry said how comments on social media show that even after the death of George Floyd and so many others, the commercials, statements, and phony sentiments regarding Black lives were just a hoax. Oh, yeah. You get criticized for not standing for the flag or facing the flag for the anthem. And this has something to do with George Floyd? Dude, this is pathetic. Well, Dan Crenshaw says it's time to go. In a dramatic escalation of Republican attacks on Gwen Berry, Rep. Dan Crenshaw on Monday called for the USA Olympian to be removed from the team after she turned away from the flag during the playing of the national anthem. That's about it. The bare minimum requirement to serve in the Olympics, Crenshaw said, should be that you believe in the country you're representing. Crenshaw argued that the Olympic athlete who didn't respect the flag should be kicked off the team. After Berry, a hammer thrower, placed third, this we understand. Forbes goes on to say, Republicans have seized, they didn't say pounced, the incident as another example of athlete activism run amok. Why does the left hate America? Senator Ted Cruz wrote on Twitter. Sure, we have our faults, but no nation in the history of the world has liberated more people from captivity, has lifted more out of poverty, has bled more for freedom, or has blessed more with abundance. This isn't the first time Olympic athletes have demonstrated on the podium. At the Olympics in Mexico City in 1968, sprinters Tommy Smith and John Carlos famously raised their fists in a black power salute, or a red salute, during the playing of the national anthem. Smith and Carlos were both sent home after the protest, as the IOC bars protests. In April, the IOC upheld its ban on protest after the committee conducted a review of Rule 50, which states no kind of demonstration or political, religious, or racial propaganda is permitted in any Olympic sites, venues, or other areas. In 2019, Berry was placed on probation by USOPC after she raised her fist at the 2019 Pan American Games in Peru. USOPC apologized to Berry last year before it changed its rules to allow demonstrations in March. Well, hey, look, good for them. You know why? These activists refuse to back down. Conservatives back down. I mean, it's a sad reality. It's not conservative, liberal. I don't like those terms because it doesn't really get to the crux of what we're trying to talk about. When it comes to the anti-establishment, many people, anti-establishment, anti-woke, disaffected liberals, moderates, conservatives, you get the group. I don't know how you want to define it. They don't want to speak out. There are people who work at Taco Bell. This guy, he wore a Black Lives Matter mask, and they said, you take that mask off or we will fire you. And he said, fire me. I refuse to back down. Stunning and brave. And I mean it. This is a guy who said, I will sacrifice my job to be able to wear this mask and say what I believe. Well, he got fired. And we've seen other things with teachers. These people willing to say, I will not back down. Now we have this story, this from last week. U.S. Olympic athlete Chelsea Wolfe threatened to burn flag on podium. BMX freestyle rider Chelsea Wolfe identifies as a trans woman. In a post from the year before saying, the only reason, or something to the effect of, I want to win the Olympics so I can burn that flag. Wow. Talk about being willing to stand up for what you believe in. Now, maybe not. Maybe it's just that they're more scared of the woke left than they are of the right. Why? Because the right doesn't do anything. There's no real organizational power among the right. There's institutional power, but among the right, people don't really stand up that often. They don't speak out all that often. They're scared of losing their jobs. And you get stories like James Damore. I wouldn't even call that guy a conservative, but when he spoke up and said, here's some things I think Google can do to improve its workplace to help, men and women, they called him a bigot and alt-right and all this other nasty stuff. He ends up in a lawsuit. I think they settled, so we don't really know how that ended. And it's unfortunate it didn't get bigger and have a bigger impact. But the sad reality is people who oppose this stuff, typically, for the most part, ain't speaking up about it. Meanwhile, these athletes are so scared of other athletes, they'll actually reject the anthem during their own podium moment, winning a medal and getting on the Olympic team, let alone losing their job. Well, that's a sad reality for conservatives. For people on the right, if you're unwilling to even do half of what the left is willing to do in terms of their activism, then don't be surprised when you keep losing. And that's what's been happening for a long time. Fox News reports BMX freestyle rider Chelsea Wolfe, who qualified as an alternate to represent the U.S. at this year's Summer Olympic Games, said last year that her goal was to win an Olympic medal, quote, so I can burn a U.S. flag at the podium. Quote, my goal is to win the Olympics so I can burn a U.S. flag at the podium. This is what they focus on during a pandemic, hurting trans children. Wolfe told Fox News The Post, which has since been deleted, doesn't mean she doesn't care about the country. Quote, anyone who thinks that I don't care about the U.S. is sorely mistaken. One of the reasons why I work so hard to represent the U.S. in international competition is to show the world that this country has morals and values, that it's not all of the bad things that we're known for. I take a stand against fascism because I care about this country, and I'm not going to let it fall into the hands of fascists after so many people have fought and sacrificed to prevent fascism from taking hold abroad. As a citizen who wants to be proud of my home country, I'm sure as hell not going to let it take hold here. Want to make a bet? I'm willing to bet 99% of the people who say things like this would shut up the moment you handed them a paycheck. I'm not kidding. Very few people would reject this. So I was having some conversations about some industries. I'm not going to say exactly what, but I assure you, there are many activists like this. They say these things because they think it's going to get them with the in crowd. Well, we don't know who's the in crowd or out crowd necessarily because of the way the media functions, but I think if you look at the data, they're the out crowd. They make up a small fraction, but because they're a powerful interest in that small fraction, they're willing to make that bet. Let's put it this way. I've had some conversations with pro skateboarders. I've said, do you guys want to come out, skate, and hang out? Some of them have said, I'm worried that I'll get attacked by Antifa, and I ride for big companies, big soda companies and clothing companies. And that's it. I don't want to lose money. That's the core of this. People don't care for the most part about the political stuff. They want to be able to buy a new lounge chair and a PS5. So what do you think happens if you go to one of these activists and say this? Hey, tell you what. We're going to hire you for this gig. And they say, oh, but the left might cancel me. Oh, don't worry. We'll make up for that. We'll cut you a massive check. You get a paycheck. I'm willing to bet you most of them, the overwhelming majority, over 90% would be like, I'll take the check. What people are scared of is being broke. And the activists use that against them because they'll go and harass businesses and the businesses will then purge people. That's why you're seeing this weird response from Gwen Berry, where she's like, stop playing with me. I don't know. They're setting me up. Because she knows this is my opportunity to make it big, man. Make money, get endorsements. Maybe, I don't know if a hammer thrower, but maybe she wins a gold medal at the Olympics. Ends up with the Wheaties box. I'm half kidding, but something like that. Endorsements, money. Oh no, but now you're overly political and you're tainting your brand and nobody wants to sponsor you because you're not going to sell boxes of Wheaties. You see how they start freaking out? Like, what do I do? What do I do to make money? That's what they care about. I'm sure to some degree they care about the politics. There are a lot of classical liberal types and right-wing individuals who very much care about their politics. And there certainly are a bunch of woke people. But most people, most of them, that's right or left, it's not that they're grifting. It's just that they're like, dude, just tell me what to say. That's what they're telling you. Now, we go on, we talk about this individual at the BMX. Journalist Ian Miles Chong first reported on Wolfe's post. Wolfe also reportedly joked about exploding former President Trump's head. Okay, I'm not going to read that next paragraph, but yes. Earlier this month, Wolfe posted about what it meant to qualify as an alternate for the Olympics as a transgender athlete. Quote, I searched for so long trying to find out if there had ever been a professional trans BMX rider to show me that who I am would be okay. And unfortunately, I found no one. Eventually, I started to meet some amazing women who helped me accept that I am a woman just like any other and that I deserve a place to exist in the world just like everyone else. Now it's a whole other issue unrelated to the American flag. I'm not going to bring that up necessarily because we got a lot more to talk about, but we've certainly talked about it on the Tim SRL podcast. International Olympic Committee policy specifies conditions under which those who transition from male to female are eligible to compete in the female category. I will say we don't have conversations about people born female transitioning to trans men and what their requirements are for obvious reasons, but I digress. That's neither here nor there in this particular issue. Congratulations to Gwen Berry and Chelsea Wolfe for being considered good enough to compete on the Olympic team for this country. However, I have to say, if you don't respect the flag of this country, you don't respect the anthem of this country, maybe you shouldn't be wearing the flag and going out when they play our anthem, when you win or when we compete. You see the problem there? You know, People who live in this country don't need to like the flag. This is a free country. They don't need to like the national anthem. But you don't need to then wear the flag, at the very least, have it next to your name on every TV screen everywhere. You do not need to represent those things to the world if you do not like them. Yeah, but money talks, huh? That's the name of the game. I love it. Let's jump over to Snopes. Did transgender Olympian Chelsea Wolfe say she wants to burn a U.S. flag on the podium? Well, there's certainly a screenshot of it. There's certainly dozens of articles saying, yes, this person did this. There's no overt denial. Literally a screenshot shows it. So I would say the evidence suggests, yes, they did. Snopes, what do they say? Unproven. Well, she didn't deny it. Therefore, we can't confirm it. Oh, please. You know what, man? This individual had every opportunity to reject it. But you know why they don't confirm or deny? Because you can see they don't care about activism. They care about money. That's what they want, money. They don't care about the politics. They just don't mind burning everything down around them if it means they get a little bit of sweet, sweet green in their pockets. For many of these people, this is their opportunity to make some big cash. It's the Olympics. Like I said, there's endorsements around the corner. Well, this lady, Gwen Berry, lost sponsors in the past. Maybe she's a true believer, or maybe she's not. Maybe she's a partial believer, but hey, won't turn down that quick buck, right? You know what? It may end up that the games don't even happen, but it seems like they're going to. There's just been big protests. Now, I want to make sure I cover the bigger context around all of this. This is from back on May 6th. Olympics bans Black Lives Matter apparel could punish athletes for social protests. Let's see what the IOC says about what Gwen Berry just did and what Chelsea Wolfe posted on Facebook. Will there be any kind of reprimand? Will the IOC come out and say these people can't compete because of their politics? Probably not. I don't think they'll do anything. But this means something really interesting. What do you think's going to happen when Gwen Berry comes out in the podium and they play, you know, even if it's a little, let's say Gwen Berry wins third, second, or first in the actual Olympic events. And she comes out and you hear that just opening, as she's coming out. Is she going to be like, no, I refuse, and do a big protest? You're not allowed to do that. Is Chelsea Wolfe? Well, Chelsea Wolfe's an alternate, so might not even, be competing. But do you think that Wolfe would come out and do this, protest the anthem? No. They'd get in trouble. And like I said, I'm willing to bet their parents are going like, my child has made it to the Olympics. I'm so proud. The activism is mostly fake. It is creepy, fringe, social media virtue signaling, and we all know it. Now, the Olympics. Will it even happen? Check this out. Teen Vogue, the best source, of course, reports 2021 Tokyo Olympics prompt protest online activism in Japan. It just shouldn't happen. Quote, yo, as somebody from Japan, F the 2020 Olympics, musician Kazuo says emphatically in a recent TikTok, referring to the upcoming Tokyo Summer Games. It's called Tokyo 2020, they say, even though it's 2021, because, COVID and we push it back. Quote, I don't think people outside of Japan know how bad this whole pandemic is being handled, Katsuo explains to Teen Vogue. It's so irresponsible. There are people still dying in this country, with Tokyo being hit the worst, yet they want to bring in athletes from other countries to compete. Priorities, homie. Not a bad point, to be honest. Isn't it funny how they're like, oh, we have to lock everything down. Oh, we can't. Canada. You got some really serious lockdowns up in Canada. You going to let people fly out of the country for this stuff? Oh, yeah. I didn't think you were serious. Any one of these countries, like Australia, claiming that they're being serious about this, but they're going to let their athletes go to Tokyo, they are full of it. Now, look, I always say this. We got news about the Delta variant. These are just some news stories, and I'm mostly concerned about the political ramifications. If you have any issues or questions about your health, you go to your doctor. That's like the big problem with all of this stuff. I don't care to rehash all this stuff, but you don't get your opinions on medical stuff from people like me on the internet. I'm here to talk politics, not medicine. And if you go to your doctor, make sure you ask them specifically about medical things, not politics. Get medical advice, second opinion, third opinion, but go to your doctor. Because here's what we got to talk about. There's concerns over the new Delta variant. Australia races to stop Delta variant with new lockdowns, revised rules in population, only 4% vaccinated. Okay. Let's have a conversation about the politics of this. If Australia wants to lock down, I think they should look at all the evidence and come to that conclusion. Okay. I know a lot of people have strong opinions. We've seen what happened with Texas and Florida. Seem to have done all right. Fauci didn't really have a good response. But here's the bigger issue. How are you going to implement new lockdowns and new rules and call for masks and social distancing, but then be like, yo, the Olympics are okay? It kind of feels like people aren't taking any of this seriously. Maybe the activists are right. No, hear me out. I know a lot of people are basically at the point where they're like, reopen things, protect the vulnerable. And that's where I've been for some time. Of course, when it comes to any medical thing, go to a doctor, go to your doctor, go to a second opinion, go get a second opinion, all that stuff. But how are you going to publicly and internationally say these new variants are dangerous? We may need booster shots. We got to wear masks and social distance, but we're going to open up international travel. What's this all about? Do they not really take their own warning seriously? Or is the money just worth it? Either way, if your official narrative is that the Delta variant is getting bad and we got to move quick, cancel the Olympics. Why won't you? Oh, the Olympics are big bucks. Isn't that it? Check this out. A petition from change.org. 434,479 have signed so far. It's going up as I record this video. That's actually not a lot, to be completely honest. I mean, we're talking about the International Olympics. There are billions of people on this planet. The most you could muster was just shy of 500,000. I think people want the Olympics. I think people are tired of the lockdowns. I think people are tired of the fake activism. Let's just go back to being like, yo, I'm from America. What up? Yo, we're going to go to the Olympics. People don't want the lockdowns anymore. People want individual freedom. And that's what we got to do. But there are real considerations. And so long as this is the narrative we're getting from the World Health Organization, you can post all the clown emojis in the world you want. I expect some consistency from the establishment. CNBC reports World Health Organization urges fully vaccinated people to continue to wear masks as Delta COVID variant spreads. Okay. Then shut down the Olympics. Why not? We playing a game of chicken or something? You think this is what we should be doing? These are the problems, yet you're still going to act like it's not true? I think too many politicians try to exploit all of this. And so the World Health Organization can say whatever they want. I'm not saying to trust them. I'm just saying this is the official narrative. This is the thing YouTube says. They say if you go against the CDC or the World Health Organization, like it's a bannable offense. Sure. Then is YouTube going to support calls to shut down the Olympics, to ban travel, to lock everything back down again? I really don't think so. CNBC reports the World Health Organization on Friday urged fully vaccinated people to continue to wear masks, social distance, and practice other COVID-19 pandemic safety measures as the highly contagious Delta variant spreads rapidly across the globe. Quote, people cannot feel safe just because they've had 2 doses. They still need to protect themselves. Dr. Mariangela Simoa, WHO Assistant Director General for Access to Medicines and Health Products, said during a news briefing from the agency's Geneva headquarters. Vaccine alone won't stop community transmission. Simo added, people need to continue to use masks consistently, be in ventilated spaces, hand hygiene, the physical distance, avoid crowding. Wow. This still continues to be extremely important, even if you're vaccinated when you have a community transmission going. Wow is all I can say. So the Olympics of all things? I think we've seen the lockdowns, and now it's time to just protect the vulnerable. Make sure we're treating the elderly, the overweight, people with underlying conditions and comorbidities with the utmost respect and care to make sure we protect their healths, the health of these individuals. And we got to get back to work. But check this out. Booster may be needed for J&J shot as Delta variant spreads. Some infectious disease experts have already boosted with Pfizer, BioNTech, or Moderna. So does that mean they get one? I thought Johnson & Johnson was the one and done. They say a few infectious disease experts are weighing the need for booster shots for the Pfizer, BioNTech, or Moderna mRNA-based vaccines for Americans who received the Johnson & Johnson one-dose vaccine due to the increasing prevalence of more contagious variants. A few say they have already done so themselves, even without published data on whether combining 2 different vaccines is safe and effective or backing from U.S. health regulators. Canada and some European countries are already allowing people to get 2 different vaccines. Talk to your doctor. This to me sounds highly speculative from a lot of people. I just say, go talk to your doctor. If you're not happy with their politics, then you should not be, then go talk to another doctor. This is one of the big issues too. I don't want to get into all this like COVID stuff. That wasn't the main issue. The Olympics are the issue, the activism and everything, right? But this is all kind of put together. It's all kind of together because we've seen the data showing that states that voted for Biden are more vaccinated than states that aren't. States that voted for Biden have a higher rate of vaccination. States that voted for Trump, except for the ones that are being contested, have a lower rate of vaccination. And that's the whole thing is weird in and of itself. I guess we'll see why that may be soon. But you can clearly see there's an ideological split between those willing to get a vaccine and those who aren't. I got to say, I don't like the idea of like McDonald's has like vaccine set up. You need to go to a doctor, man. They need to know your medical history and stuff. But anyway, I know. I don't want to rehash all that stuff. The point is, if this is the official narrative from the World Health Organization, if this is what's now starting to come out, then how are we even having conversations about any of this? It seems to me that people in political power, they want the Olympics. The Olympics is fat cash. It's money in their pockets. It's power. It's control. It's unifying in many respects. So which is it? Why do we abide by some rules sometimes and not by other rules other times? We can't have it. How about this? In terms of the activism, the people who want to be activists and don't like this country, or maybe they like the country, but they're critical of the anthem or whatever, then they don't need to represent the flag. Then we don't put the flag next to their names. You pick one. Are you proud of this country and willing to represent it honorably and faithfully? And if not, then why are you here? And more importantly, we need to have standards. Otherwise, people lose faith in whatever this is. None of it makes sense. I'll leave it there. Next segment's coming up tonight at 8 p.m. over at youtube.com/TimCastIRL. Thanks for hanging out, and we will see you all then.